Hey guys, it's 𝗧𝗛𝗏𝗡𝗚 here, and welcome back to another build challenge. So as you can tell from the title of today's video, we will be doing every room is a different cursed lot challenge. This is something that I don't believe any other simmer has done before, and I thought it was a really fun way to launch this spooky season. So for the lot challenges themselves, we do have 6 in total. We have cursed, we have gremlins, we have spooky, we have quake, we have creepy crawlies, and finally we have grody. So just like always, if you guys have watched my challenges before, I'm gonna put them in my laptop case and draw them randomly, kind of like drawing names out of a hat. Now, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I haven't really used these lot challenges very much in game, but I'm going to do my best to make each room indicative of that lot challenge. So let's cross our fingers and hopefully this works out. All right guys, so starting us off, we do have the main hallway area, and our very first lot challenge will officially be the cursed lot challenge. All right, so there it is, you guys. The cursed lot challenge is the very first one, and I don't think it could get any more on the nose than that. But hopefully this can be really fun. I do know that cursed lots tend to be a little bit more supernaturally vexed, if that makes sense. So let's see what we can do with this space. I guess if I'm thinking cursed, I immediately go to the paranormal stuff pack because I know that there is a lot of weird stuff that goes on in there. I'm thinking we could do maybe some of these statues, these clay hands. These are pretty cursed. We do have these vines as well, which I have seen come up, and that is pretty creepy. So that could be a possibility. The question is, do I want stuff to protect the Sims living here? Because we could just let them experience the curse at its fullest. We could have even some of these goo puddles popping up, so that could be a possibility. Whoa, okay, they're very hard to select. I put it down, you guys, I put it down, and now it's just not selecting anymore, so I'm not really sure what to do. Okay, this makes it really complicated. Okay, let me rethink this. All right, cursed, 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 cursed. Okay, so if we do have those elements from the paranormal pack, I could kind of cheat. I could kind of use some of these elements from the vampires pack. So instead of having those vines from the floor, we could have something like this. I'm getting sort of Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent vibes. That could be the thing here. Probably gonna change out the wall. Again, I'm not really too sure what will work. I definitely want something that's a little bit more aged. So I think maybe more scraggly wood, perhaps. Maybe this. I'm gonna try to use the same one once more, but maybe in this tone. All right, I'm gonna make my life easier. I'm gonna actually select the lot challenge itself. And for cursed, it says lots of things seem to go wrong here. Now, I do have another resource open from GameRant.com, so hopefully this is still accurate, but gives us a little bit more information. And it says cursed lots are full of bad luck and weird vibes. Things are more likely to break, catch fire, and Sims have a higher risk of dying from physical deaths like electrocution and exhaustion. Sims also can get put under voodoo when entering the lot. Okay, I think we can work with that. We do have the voodoo doll from base game, so that's actually something we could use. I'm wondering if we can hide them, because obviously the victims of voodoo dolls themselves aren't really supposed to know where their actual voodoo doll is, so they could be kind of placed throughout the house. All right, which pieces of furniture actually look cursed? That's a good question. We could use this, also from the paranormal stuff pack. I'm thinking the walls need to be darker if we're doing cursed, so let me do this. There is nothing more cursed, however, than this door. I don't know if it's move objects on, but you know, the game does what it needs to do, so there it is. All right, we have the voodoo dolls in place. I still want to dress this up like a little kind of hallway area. So we do have a couch. It's a little bit more like a living room, but perhaps we can put a coat rack in here as well. I'm gonna use maybe a janky rug. We can even hide some of these occult markings. That could be really cool. And then probably put sort of a rougher rug on top. So I could do maybe this one from the vampires pack. I'm gonna obscure it a little bit just so we know it's there. But obviously, you know, the marking is still part of this house. Yeah, that's good. Love it. All right. Probably need a coffee table as well. Probably something a little jankier. I don't really mind if it's a little bit more broken down. Cursed paintings? Do we have anything like that? I was thinking perhaps maybe some content from the vampires pack. I don't know how cursed that would be. I've actually seen a lot of YouTube videos about actual cursed paintings in real life. Probably never going to do a real lore about them because honestly, you guys, the energy is pretty scary. Don't really want to mess with that, but we could possibly emulate that in this build. So we could do something like this. Could do one of Count Vlad himself. That could be really cool. This is probably becoming more of a living room than I wanted, but you know what? I'm gonna roll with it, you guys. I think it's coming out all right so far. Let's grab a few chairs. Which chairs look cursed? I don't know. Do we have something better? Maybe something like this? This looks a little bit roughed up. I think the sim found this chair in the dumpster. Could even do all black like this. That chair looks pretty suspicious, so that could work. Now we do have the voodoo doll, so we could take this one. I'm thinking we can actually hide it below the chair here, just so it's a little bit out of sight. And I think I did size it up a little bit, so let me actually go down and shrink it like this. Thinking we could also use a few end tables. Not really sure how we're going to figure out what cursed means with end tables. Could use this one from Jungle Adventure, which I do kind of like. Definitely has a more rustic quality about it. I'm also going to find the objects from the City Living pack. And if you guys have heard of Dybbuk boxes, those are extremely cursed objects. I don't remember their particular origins, but they do exist, and there is definitely a lot of content online about them. Obviously, watch at your own risk, you guys. But I will try to find the object from City Living that I'm looking for. The actual curse is finding the object, which is somewhere in this big mess. Perfect. We'll use this. These will be our Dybbuk boxes in The Sims. I'm still thinking about the wallpaper, you guys. I kind of want it to still resemble a home. I don't want it to look so shack-like, as cool as it may look. Vampires could be a solution if we do something like this, which is pretty ornate, probably more than I wanted to. Ooh, I do like this as well. We can do kind of a more matte black like this, and it still feels very paranormal, if that makes sense. So I think we could do something like this. All right, and this is still going to be the hallway area, so we do need a shoe rack somewhere. So I'm just going to grab the one from base game, coat rack up against the wall like this. Hopefully Sims can still get through. Oh, I would like a broken mirror. That would be awesome. Very fitting towards the theme. I could do a standing mirror and then try my best to kind of situate a crack on top of it. It's not going to be easy. I don't think it wants me to do it, but maybe if I'm careful enough, it could work. Maybe. Okay, could I maybe put an angled wall here, and then I'll try to put the crack on top of it. Then I'll delete this. Maybe I can float it in place. Just like this. Let me have the bad luck for my Sims, please. All right. It's not bad. It's not bad, you guys. I think it's almost there. Let me finesse it a little bit, but I think it actually worked. All right, cursed objects. What else could we do? Maybe a spell book, perhaps? A spell book that went wrong. Maybe somebody summoned something they weren't supposed to, perhaps. So I'll probably put some tomes here. Quill for taking notes. Why not? If you want to curse yourself more, there it is. Let's also add a little bit of distress along the walls, maybe some of these holes. All right, I'm pretty happy with this. I think we have everything we need for the hallway. It's a little bit of a sitting area as well, but I think this cursed room does the trick. All right, so next we do have the kitchen. And for this room, we will have the Gremlins Lot Challenge. All right, there it is, you guys. If you can see it in the camera, we have the Gremlins Lot Challenge. And this one worked pretty well, if I'm being honest with you guys. So another unfortunate confession, I have never seen the Gremlins movie from the 80s, but I have heard a lot about it. And I do know that gremlins are these very mischievous little creatures that supposedly love to go around and break things. So I think specifically in The Sims, it's breaking technology. It says, stuff breaks here a lot. It's like there are tiny goblins who come out at night and smash things. But that's ridiculous, right? We do also have the description from Game Rant, and it says gremlin lots say they have tiny creatures that cause mischief around the place at night. But players don't see any gremlins appear. Instead, at midnight every night after everyone goes to bed, objects like sinks, showers, and toilets will break. So this is perfect for a kitchen. I'm gonna see if I can make some sort of defunct appliances, possibly pulling from the Eco Lifestyle pack. All right, first off, we definitely have to make this place look more like a kitchen. Thinking we could do the linoleum, I believe, from the City Living pack. All right, I'm gonna go for a slightly more 80s vibe. I think I'm going to pay homage to the movie. So we're going a little bit retro, a little bit muted. I am going to find some objects from Debug. So let's do Eco Lifestyle. I think we can pull a lot of the broken appliances from there. And I'm looking for the fridge. Here it is. We do have this one here. Yeah, Sims are definitely not going to be able to use this. So I'll put the fridge here. Definitely want the broken down stove as well. We even have the broken lid for it, which works great. Ooh, we also have these really terrible counters from the City Living pack. Probably something that matches. So maybe something like this, perhaps. Definitely will need a sink in here too. So I'm not really sure where that's going to situate, but I could put it along the wall over here where the opening is. All right, loving these broken appliances. They are definitely fitting well. Kind of wish I had tool though. I would make this lid kind of fall over on the floor, but I think this works for now. We definitely need some cabinets as well. Otherwise, this kitchen is pretty barren. So I'll just match what we have down here. Probably put these along the wall as well. Unfortunately, I don't know if we have any kind of broken light. I think that would be so cool. Maybe I can take this out and use something else. We do have this lantern, which kind of could be a replacement if the gremlins kind of botched all of your technology. Maybe this little lantern could do the trick perhaps. We are definitely going to need some trash on the ground. So we're going to pretend that the gremlins kind of rummaged through all of these appliances and broke them. We do have this object as well, which does fit in. I wish it wasn't so bulky though, because I'm not really sure how to include it. Maybe delete this fridge like this, and maybe put this over here like so. We do have an area for the sink, and the sink is a little tricky, you guys, because I'm not really sure if we have something that looks broken. Alternatively, we could have it so that the sink is broken, and because it's broken, it's just filled with plates and garbage, so it's very much defunct. I think that's probably our best solution here. Trash is just piling up in here. That may have to be the trick, you guys. So let's put some of this in here. Maybe some more garbage on the floor, perhaps. Yes, something like this could work really well because I definitely see a lot of mechanical parts. So obviously the gremlins had their way in here. They destroyed everything. So I think that works. For some reason, I can't find the dirty plates, and I literally just used them in another build. So I don't really know where they are. Ooh, we have broken plumbing? Yes. Okay, this could work. Damaged sink. All right, perfect. Could even use clumps of dirt. So the kitchen is really soiled because it's not working. Could do something like this and probably pile some of these inside. We do have some of these plates, which could work. I'm not really sure if they're supposed to be filthy or not, but I think they'll have to do in terms of dirty dishes. Now, I do feel like the gremlins would have made a mess of things, so I think some of these distressed elements could really fit. I'm going to use these scrapes from the vampires pack where the fridge was, so I think that is pretty fitting. All right, we do have more random garbage, which could work. I'm going to put it probably next to the microwave like this, kind of like more parts have been taken out of it. Oh, the stack of dirty dishes. I just put dirt and it popped up. Here it is. Here was the item I was looking for. I can put some in the microwave. I can put some here as well, finally. All right, can I put some in the sink? Yes, all right, this is looking a lot better now. Now, for old time's sake, I think I will still put a little bit of clutter in this kitchen, if there is anything that makes sense. There is this box of junk, which could be fairly fitting if a sim just moved in here and unfortunately had to deal with all of this chaos. So I can probably put one of these maybe along the wall like this. We do have this little dish rack as well, which is kind of fun. I wish they had dishes that were dirty. Yeah, I think we'll do this. These will be the last of the clean dishes. Oh, better yet, let me get a bucket, because if the technology is not working in this room, we're gonna have to do things the old-fashioned way. So we do have this from Cottage Living. This could be a means of cleaning the dishes here, so that makes sense. On second thought, I can probably delete this lantern and really make this kitchen very derelict and broken. So if the gremlins have ruined all technology, even the electrical wires, we could go very old-fashioned with some candles perhaps. That could be the way that the kitchen is being lit right now. All right, so I think I'll do these. I'll do these from the Jungle Adventure pack. Battery operated lanterns perhaps. Maybe we can put some candles in here as well. All right, so I think this is pretty much it for our kitchen. Like I said, the gremlins have pretty much had their way with this place. All of the appliances are broken down. There are dirty dishes everywhere because the sink is not even working. We have lost power, so we're using candles and lanterns, and it's just a huge mess. I feel so bad for the Sims living here, but I think with that said, we are done with this room and we can move on to the next one. So we are shifting over now. We're going to tackle the living room space, and the lot challenge for this room will officially be the quake. All right, there it is, you guys. If you can see it in the camera, the quake is next. And this one is going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, earthquakes in real life are very scary, and I've been fortunate enough not to ever experience one myself. But, you know, if we are living in San Myshuno and this apartment is earthquake prone, I can foresee a lot of damages in this particular room. We definitely want possibly more flooring that is cracked, so we could potentially use this linoleum once more. We do want walls that are maybe a little bit older, again sticking with more of the retro feel, I guess. I almost want to do brick. I think that could be fairly fitting to where we are, so maybe something like this. Definitely going to go in the vampires pack and use a lot of cracks. I am not going to be very sparing with these cracks because we're going to drive home the theme as much as we can. Hopefully, even without tool mod, we can still create objects that are falling over and making a mess. Lots of these really giant cracks from the Jungle Adventure pack. This room is definitely looking very unstable. I would not even trust this place even if there were not any earthquakes in this area of San Myshuno. But again, we're driving home that theme, and I think this works pretty well, I hope. Ooh, we could even have these kind of breaking through the brick itself. Maybe we can have some planks falling on the ground. That could be really cool. I don't think we're going to have to use the linoleum anymore because I do think we have a lot of elements we can work with. I'll probably just do a dirtier sort of rug like this. I think this could work. Well, you know, I guess conceptually, if there were a lot of earthquakes, I feel like a lot of debris, a lot of spills would happen here. So the rug or the carpet is just not in really good condition. And I think that's going to be the story I'm going to roll with. So we'll use this. Going to search now for the debug pieces from the base game. And like I said, we're going to make it look like parts of the wall have fallen down, fallen apart. So we could use some of the elements like this, perhaps. We do even have some rubble also from the wood carving station. So I think that works fairly well. All right, so we do have a lot of the rubble down. I think this works. Let's put maybe some older furniture, perhaps, that could go in this room. Probably things that are also very worn out, maybe from all of the destruction, perhaps. So we do have this. I honestly love this sofa here, so maybe we can use this object. I could even put a few more of these wood pieces on top, so I'll probably take something like this, shrink it down a little bit, and just bop it up like so. All right, I think we can take out this lamp. We definitely want a lamp that's a little bit more fitting to the theme, so maybe something that's a little bit more stable, perhaps. I'm not really sure. I think I'd want to do something like this, kind of a more reinforced industrial lamp, perhaps. I do know that we also have a few more dilapidated objects from the Eco Lifestyle pack, so I think we can probably pull maybe the dresser and a few other pieces as well. We do have more in the set, which does work, so maybe some of these over here. We could even use the debunk clutter, almost as if there was a desk or a bookcase that fell down. But we do have some paper objects like this. Like I said, if a bookcase fell over, could do this object as well, which this is more of a dresser, but I think this could still be part of the living room area. Yes, vintage TV, great. Just gonna size you up a little bit and probably put you about here. I think I can float a crack onto the TV, so we're gonna really sell this whole damage aspect. Just like this. All right, that's not too bad. I think that works. Probably put another one through it as well. I think what I want to also do is add in a few bits of signage. So I'm thinking we could use content from the Get to Work pack, possibly some warning signs that would protect citizens from this very hazardous room. Probably something like this. I can probably put it up on the wall like so. And for more protection, I think we can even do a fire extinguisher. So I'll probably put this along the wall, maybe over here. I could possibly pretend this one is part of the room. It definitely has some damage, so maybe the Sims here have been through an earthquake, but have tried to kind of clean up a little bit. That's going to have to be the story I'm going for. Definitely going to need a few more books on the ground because we definitely need to sell the idea that at some point this bookcase fell over. I could also use the painting objects from the Eco Lifestyle pack, which aren't really damaged per se, but they can sit on the ground. So obviously in the event of an earthquake, they could have fallen off the wall and the owner just kind of sat it there, if that makes sense. So let me do that. All right, so I think we are pretty much set with this room. This is the Quake living room, which obviously is in such a mess. This is in such a dangerous area of San Myshuno. And as much as I would like to say this room probably is not habitable at all, it's just very damaged, but I think this pretty much satisfies the challenge and we're ready to go on to our next room. We're moving on now to the dining room area, and the next lot challenge for this room will officially be the 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗞𝗦. Okay, that's pretty interesting. We have 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗞𝗦 as our next lot challenge. 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗞𝗦 is kind of a weird lot challenge in this game because we also have filthy, but ultimately 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗞𝗦 is a little bit different. So if we look here, 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗞𝗦 is Sims have a chance to get nauseous when eating, drinking, or using the bathroom. Also, if we do look on GameRant.com, it says that 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗞𝗦 lots are similar to filthy lots, but rather than physically seeing the dirt, Sims get overwhelmed with how nasty the lot is and get nauseous when eating, drinking, or going to the bathroom. So this is tricky. This room is going to be hard because if we're looking at this from more of a supernatural or paranormal aspect, normally foul smells are associated with darker and more malevolent spirits. The problem is we can't really show too much of that grime in this room. So honestly, you guys, I'm not really too keen on how we're going to tackle this because we do need an aura of filthiness in this room, but maybe in a way that's more hidden or more displeasing with some of the design choices. So I think we can do that. I could go with more of a greener tone perhaps, maybe something like this, something a little bit more sickly. The walls definitely have to be dingier, so I could use maybe a different swatch. I do also have these from the Island Living pack, which actually could work. I think this looks a little bit more distressed, a little bit more displeasing to eat here. Probably gonna go for something a little bit more run down. Maybe go for a lantern perhaps? My favorite go-to lantern, this could be the thing. Definitely going for the rest. We wanna make this room as sickly as possible without showing too much filth, so I think that could do. We'll definitely need a more rundown table here, but I'm not really sure what is going to work best. Could use this from the Get Together pack. I think I'm going to try and mix up the rugs a little bit, and I was going to do vampires, but I think we can probably do tiny living. I'm going to use this more sickly greenish yellow tone, if that makes sense. It's kind of looking like Shrek's hut, which it's not a bad vibe. It's very much in tune with what we're going for. The chairs, on the other hand, I definitely want them to look a little bit rustic, but I don't want to go too overboard. Do we have some very filthy looking curtains? Probably something green or yellowish maybe. All right, maybe this one. This curtain does not look very appetizing. It looks like it could be stained from smoke, perhaps. Wall art is going to be a little hard in this room, if I'm being honest with you guys. So we could use these. We could use these from the Get Together pack. And my logic is the fact that, you know, maybe someone wasn't too great at taking care of these images. Maybe they got a little wet and moldy. So that could be sort of the stench factor in the room. Probably want to use some smaller armchairs as well because we do need to fill up this dining room a little bit. I could use this armchair once more. It was the same exact armchair I used in the hallway area, but it also has a very distressed quality to it, which I think actually works here. Oh yes, this really nasty putrid yellow. I think that could do. I think we'll use this. I could put some old books on top, again, driving home that really musty mildew type of vibe, if that makes sense. So there we go. All right, I do think I would like a hutch in here because I do think a hutch is very indicative of a dining room. We do have this one from base game, which is honestly not too bad. It's definitely rustic, and I do wish it was a little bit more distressed. Funny enough, we do have a mouse hole here, which I've never seen function in game. I think either mice or rats pop out. I'm gonna leave that there. I definitely don't want to obstruct that. Probably just gonna add a few more of these chairs over here. I actually think we could do the Jungle Adventure lantern here, because if you guys remember, that lantern is very rusted and kind of distressed. So very unappetizing in this space. Right, this one, perfect. Not gonna lie, you guys, I'm thinking I could actually do spa day here, and normally this is a very nice object, but I think in the context of the room, it actually fits. It's very devoid of life, it's very devoid of color, and it's just not a very appetite-inducing object, so I think it actually makes sense, and again, fits with everything else here. Ooh, you know what? This radiator actually works perfectly. I'm gonna put it right below the window. Definitely fits the room as well. I don't think I'm going to have any food on the table, but I think possibly a few kettles could do. Maybe something like this. Alright, so I think this is pretty much it for the dining room, albeit it is a little bit simpler than the other rooms, but I do think we get the lot challenge across of being grody. So not over the top in terms of grunge and filth and disgusting elements, but there are just some weird qualities about this space. Maybe it's the weird choices in the interior design, the decor, the furniture, just something off about this room that makes it very unappetizing and very displeasing to be in. So hopefully that is the point I made with this space, and with that we are on to our next room. Alright guys, so we are getting down to the wire here. We only have 2 rooms left, and the very next cursed lot challenge will be creepy crawlies. Alright, there it is, you guys. If you can see it in the camera, we have creepy crawlies next. So wow. This is going to be very unsettling for the Sims sleeping here, if they can get any sleep in this room at all. So going into this bedroom space, I will say that I do have a scary story of my own that is not supernatural or paranormal, but at some point I moved into a new apartment complex, and when I went into the bedroom itself, there were lots of bugs hidden away in the carpet, and we're talking spiders for the most part. Very hard to sleep peacefully in there, so this is a little bit of a throwback for me. We even have a mouse or rat hole in this room as well, which makes this space even worse. So I definitely want to play up that element of having bugs and creepy crawly things everywhere. Just to double check, we're going to look at the lot challenge itself. And if we're looking at creepy crawlies, it says, it seems that some creepy pests have taken up residence here. Be prepared, when they hit, you'll never see them coming. If we look at the description on GameRant.com, it says, lots with creepy crawlies are home to spiders, bees, and bats that will attack Sims whenever they get the urge. So this room is going to be pretty intense. I'm not really sure how I'm going to involve bees and bats, but we can definitely do the spiders that came with the Vampires pack. So this will be pretty interesting. I will probably repurpose this carpet once more. I think we can do it maybe in a darker tone like this. Hopefully it is enough for bugs to kind of hide inside of it, hide inside the fibers and spook you. So maybe the bed frame is old, maybe the mattress is used, maybe some case of the bed bugs. We're going really creepy crawly here. Eco lifestyle is probably our best bet here, because a lot of these beds are very much in bad shape. I think we have some kind of coffee spill. I hope it's not something else. Lots of water stains, water damage. I don't really know what's going on with this bed, but it's not going to be fun for your Sims. The walls also should be fairly distressed, and I'm thinking either a brick wall or maybe even a wood paneled wall, maybe like some kind of attic space. That is normally a place where you can find lots of bugs and lots of insects. I'm going to use these objects from the Vampires pack because obviously we need some spiders here, and I'm going to use a ton of these throughout the room. So if you have arachnophobia, this is not the place for your Sims. It's going to be a very infested space. Again, we need to use pieces that are a little bit more derelict, maybe more infested. We could use maybe this one. Termites may have gotten their way in, which is fairly fitting. We could even have more of these wood pieces peeking through. So if the termites really went to town, they could be eating their way into the bedroom. So good luck. Good luck to the Sim who is trying to sleep peacefully here. The more entry points to your bedroom, the better. We're probably going to make this room even worse and use a shaggy rug. I think it gives more opportunities for bugs to hide and nest in. So if you're trying to walk into your bedroom, or you're getting up to use the restroom, getting a drink of water perhaps, you come back late at night, you can't see what is hiding in that carpet. So I think that is pretty fitting for this lot challenge. All right, do we have furniture that works with this space? Again, not really sure. I feel like I'm just using a lot of the same objects because I don't have a lot of options. But I do like this armchair from the Eco Lifestyle pack. So maybe I'll put one here. I'll also put a few spider webs on the chair as well. So the more spiders we have that can animate into this room, the better. All right, here we go again, you guys. We're gonna go with the Jungle Adventure lanterns once more. Because I think lanterns would attract certain insects, maybe moths perhaps, fleas, other pests like that. So again, we're setting up this sim for failure. Okay, so in a very interesting plot twist, I have found bats. I have found bats in game, and I think they are from Debug. But regardless, they are pests, they are rodents. I can actually kind of float them in the air like this. So your sim is just, yeah, your sim should move out. They should forsake their deposit for this place because this area is just scary. It is scary, you guys. All right, guys, I made the executive decision. I got rid of the light and we only have 2 lanterns in this room. So I think it brings up the creepy factor. If your sim is in the bedroom at night, they're not gonna know if they're stepping on cockroaches, spiders, they're not gonna see the bats flying around. It's going to be a literal nightmare trying to sleep in this room. But I think this pretty much does it for this room and this creepy crawly lot challenge. And we are set to move on to our final room. All right, guys, so I already know the final lot challenge and it is my favorite. Unfortunately, it is a small room, but we do have the spooky lot challenge. If you guys can see it in the camera, that is our final lot challenge today. Just as a quick rundown, we do have spooky right here in the categories. And for spooky, it says, for some inexplicable reason, this lot attracts wandering ghosts. Once more, Game Rant is a little bit more specific, and it says, spooky lots have lots of things that go bump in the night at 10:30 p.m. Specifically, a ghost will appear and mildly haunt Sims and scare them. Unfortunately, ghosts sometimes have a terrible habit of breaking items. So lots of really cool stuff we could do here, but I definitely want to drive home that real paranormal activity aspect. Lots of spookiness. Maybe I can change the lighting a little bit. We'll definitely see what we can do with this bathroom. All right, so going on in. This definitely needs to look more like a bathroom. I think what I'll do is actually pull the cracked linoleum from the kitchen itself and repurpose it here. Ooh, we could even go more paranormal if we wanted to. We do have the pack and we do have these options, which are actually not too bad. I think I might actually try this wallpaper. If we're going spooky, I think I do want more of a, maybe a more Victorian theme, I would think. Something more akin to a lot that was more historical. Definitely has seen some Sims pass away over the years. So again, it's a more likely chance that this place could be haunted. So I think that's the look I'll go for. I'll go for the black wallpaper. Could darken this as well, just like so. This is a really weird bathroom shape, you guys. I feel like I made my life a little difficult, but you know what? I'm going to revise it. I'll probably put one wall here. Probably have the toilet on the other side, like so. All right, we definitely need some eerie lighting in here. I definitely want more of a green or blue ambience. I think that's more fitting to paranormal activity, to ghosts, spirits, haunting. We could even do some candles, maybe like this. Yeah, I think the paranormal stuff pack pulls through once more. Let me try using these. I think they do have the right color I'm looking for. And I don't want to put too many of these in the room because I definitely want it to be a little bit on the dim side, if that makes sense. I'm also going to use the candles that came with the pack, and these do give a really cool eerie glow. Oh, there they go. There they went, you guys. They're gone. But you know what? I'm still going to use them. Obviously, if you light them up in game, they will have the right ambience, I promise. Anyways, we do have some very interesting antique mirrors, and I could go again with the vampires pack. I do also like these base game pieces as well, because they do have a very distressed, haunted look to them. So maybe I could use one here and maybe another one just like this. Oh, we really have some cool sinks too. I'm not sure, you guys. I do like this sink option. It does feel a little bit more Victorian. We could do 2 of them. I think this is more indicative of the era. So maybe something like this. We're going to do a double vanity this way. Ooh, we could even do kind of a haunted mansion theme. Unfortunately, when I did go to Disney, the haunted mansion attraction was actually shut down. I think it was undergoing repairs. So that was a huge bummer for me. But we can still include some very interesting elements, possibly like this somewhere along the wall. Ooh, we do also have the haunted doll from the paranormal stuff pack. So we can have sort of an Annabelle moment, if that makes sense. All right, so we do have this. Probably put it just like so. Yes, perfect. So haunted doll, here we come. We also have a lot of potentially haunted paintings, which could be really cool. This is very much indicative of a haunted house. Let's also put a rug on the ground, and I think we'll do this. We'll go with the paranormal stuff pack once more. Ooh, I almost forgot. I almost forgot those candles, so let me bring them back. I'm probably going to put them on top of the linen cabinet. Oh, how I wish they had this glow. They can stick up here, which is great, but the glow just goes away immediately. But you know what? It is part of the theme, so I think that makes sense, and we're definitely going to roll with it. I just realized how creepy this statue is, especially if you are trying to brush your teeth, if you are trying to use the toilet. This thing is going to be side-eyeing you the whole time, which I think works. I think it could work with this room. Now, if we do want to summon some spirits in this room, and again drive home the theme, we have to go back to the paranormal stuff pack and then grab the crystal ball, which is this object. I think it should work fairly well in here. Now, unfortunately, because I am putting in the candle, I think it is wise to have at least one other object your Sims can use to protect themselves from spirits, so I will put the helping hand up here as well. Alright guys, so this is pretty much it for the Cursed Lot Challenge apartment. And looking at all the rooms themselves, I definitely would not want you or your Sims living in this space. Overall, I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching this challenge. I thought it was a really fun way to launch October and the spooky season. With that said, I hope you guys enjoy a lot more spooky content coming your way very soon, and I will catch you guys in the very next build challenge as well. And just like always, this has been 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗞𝗦 signing off. Thank you so much for watching, guys.